So the first module we have in object-oriented programming using C++ is beginning with C++ and the features of C++ language. The topics in module 1 are what is C++, applications of C++ program and structure of C++ program, different data types, variables, different operators used, expressions, operator overloading, and control structures in C++. Let us see the history behind C++ language. So what is C++? C++ it is an object-oriented programming language. It was developed by Virginie Strausstrup at AT&T Bell Laboratories in USA in the year 1980. So Strausstrup, he was an admirer of Simula 67 and a strong supporter of C language. So the Simula 67's object-oriented properties were incorporated along with the C language to develop a new language which was named as C with classes, because along with the object-oriented programming features, another addition, that is class, was added, which was the major addition to the original C language. So the new language was named as C with classes. Later on, using the increment operator, that is plus plus, the language was named as C++ in the year 1983. So it means that C++ it is an incremented version of C. So C++ language, it is a superset of C. That is, whatever features which applies for C, it applies to C++ also, but the reverse is not possible. So almost all C programs, they are C++ programs, but there are few small differences which will prevent the C program from running in the C++ compiler. The features or the facilities that C++ has are classes, inheritance, function overloading, and operator overloading in comparison to the C language. These features, they enable the creation of abstract data types, inherit properties from the existing data types, and support polymorphism, and hence it makes the C++ a object-oriented language. The object-oriented features in C++, it allows the programmers to build larger programs with clarity, extensibility, and ease of maintenance. In addition, maintaining the efficiency of C language. The new features have transformed the C language from top-to-down approach to bottom-up approach, and also from structured design to object-oriented design. Next, we'll see the applications of C++. C++, it is a versatile language which can be used to handle very large programs. It is suitable for any programming task, including the development of editors, compilers, database, communication systems, and real-life application systems. Since C++ allows to create hierarchy-related objects, special object-oriented libraries can be built which can be used by the programmers later. And C++, it is able to map the real-world problem. So the C part of the C++ language gives the language the ability to get close to the machine level details. C++ programs, they are easily maintainable and expandable. That is, when a new feature is to be implemented, it is easy to add to the existing structure of an object or to the existing program. The new code will be added for implementing the new feature. Now let us us see the structure of C++ program. A typical C++ program contains 4 sections, which is as shown in the figure. These sections, they will be placed in separate code files and then compiled either independently or jointly. So the 4 sections are the header files, that is the include statements, then the class declaration, then the member function definition, that is the functions in the class, the definition of it, and then the main program. The 4 sections of C++ program, they can be organized into 3 separate files. The class declarations, they are placed in a header file, and the definitions of the member functions, they are placed in another file. So this approach, it will enable the programmer to separate the abstract specification of the interface, that is the class definition or class declaration, from the implementation details, that is the member function definition. And the main program, which will use the class, is placed in the third file, which will include the previous 2 files as well as any other files required. This approach, it is based on the concept of client-server model. So figure shows the client-server model. So the main program is the client and the class definition along with the member function definition is the server. So the class definition including the member function will constitute a server, which will provide service to the main program, which is the client. So the client will require some task to be done, which will be performed by the server. So the client will use the server through the public interface of the class. Now let us see the comparison between C program and C++ program. So a simple program is written to print the message hello world. So in C program, we have the header file first, that is #include stdio.h. So stdio is the header file for the standard input output operations. After the header file, we have the main program where in the execution starts, that is the point of program execution is from main function. So in the main function, we have the statement printf hello world. So whatever message which is to be printed on the output screen, it will be written inside the double quotes. And printf is the command which will print that particular message on the output screen. It will specify that this particular message has to be printed. And then we have the return 0 statement for signifying that the program execution has successfully completed. So same program can be written in C++ language, that is printing the hello world statement. So the simple C++ program is as shown. So we have the header file again, that is #include iostream.h. So in C++ program, we have the header file as iostream, which is used for the input output operation. So we have in that standard input stream as well as standard output stream, and there are objects used in that for the input operation as well as output operation. After the header file, we have the main program. So in the main program, we have to have the statement written which will be printing the statement or message hello world. So we have the statement that is cout hello world. So this cout, it is predefined object which will represent the standard output stream in C++. So the statement cout hello world, it will cause the string or the message in the double quotes to be displayed or printed on the screen. So along with this cout, that a predefined object, we have another operator, that is insertion or put to operator. It is the lesser than symbol. So this is called as insertion or put to operator. So this operator, it will insert or send the content of the variable or the string in quotation mark or the double quotes which is to its right to the object which is to its left. So this insertion or put to operator will insert or send the content to its right. It might be either variable or some string inside the double quotes. It will send it to the object to its left, that is to the cout. So the cout object, it will send this string to the output screen, and hence the message or the statement or the hello world will be displayed on the output screen. Also, using this object, that is cout, we can redirect the output to the other output devices apart from the screen, output screen. Next, we'll see one more program to show the input operation as well as output operation in C++ language. So first we have the header file, that is #include iostream.h, and one more header file is used, that is conio.h. So this header file is used since the getch command is used in the program, that is get character function is used. So the two header files, they are preprocessor directives. So in the C++ language we have one more thing, that is comment. This comment is nothing but the message or the statement which will tell what exactly is the program is for or the program statement is for. So this comment, it can be single line comment or double line. So in C++ we have the feature of single line comment using double slash. So the comment, it can start anywhere in the line, but it will be till the end of the line. So whatever is written after the double slash, it will be treated as a comment, that is it will be not treated as a program statement and it will be executed. So if at all we want to have a comment in double line, then we can have the slash star used as used in the C program. So first we'll be having at the start slash, then star, and at the end of the comment, which is multi-line comment, we'll be having the star slash. So that is for multi-line comment, but for single line comment we can use double slash. Then we have the main program. So in the main program, first we will need to have the input operation done, that is we need to take the value from the user. So for that, first we need to have some variable used so that the value can be stored in that variable. So we have the declaration of the variable, that is num is the variable used. So we are using an integer variable, so we have the declaration int num. So now this statement will create a memory location for the variable num, that is the memory location will be named as num, and then we need to have the value given or value put to the variable num. So for that, first the user should know that at this point of time they have to enter some value through the keyboard. So we need to have a statement which will be displayed on the output screen telling the user that they are supposed to enter the value. So we have the statement cout enter the value for num. So this is nothing but output using cout. So we are outputting the statement enter the value for num on the output screen. So cout is the predefined object of the standard output stream, and then the insertion operator is there. So whatever is there in the double quotes enter the value for num is inserted to the predefined object cout, which will send this statement to the screen, that is it will be displayed on the screen. So finally we will be having the message or the enter the value for num displayed on the output screen. Thereby the user will be knowing that they have to enter the number or the value from the keyboard. once the number is entered by the user, it has to be stored in the specified location, that is num. So it has to be directed to that particular memory location. So that is done by the statement cin greater than symbol num. So cin is same like cout. It is predefined object but of input stream, standard input stream. So this particular cin num, it is an input statement. So at this point of time, the program will be waiting for the input, that is typed from the user end. So once the number is typed, it will be taken in from the keyboard and it will be placed in the particular memory location. And how it is done? So we have the operator, that is extraction or get from operator. So this operator, it will extract or take the value from the keyboard and then it will assign it to the variable which is to its right. So this particular operator extraction, that is greater than symbol, it is used along with the cin object, predefined object. So it will extract or take the value from the keyboard and then it will assign it to the variable which is to its right. So whatever value is entered by the user, it will be taken in and it will be assigned to the variable num, by which the variable num gets the input value. This is similar to the scanf statement used in C language. So once we have done the input operation, now we want to check whether the value whatever is entered by us is being stored in the variable num. So we can print the value of num also using the cout statement. So how it is done? So we have the statement cout, the insertion operator, and in double quotes we have num equal to, just to have the statement to look clearer. So num equal to, that will be printed as it is in the output screen. And then again we have the insertion operator and then the variable num. So this statement, what it will do is it will print the statement num equal to and then the value of num is printed. So num equal to whatever value was typed, that will be printed. So this is nothing but cascading of IO operators. So by using the insertion operator repeatedly, we can have combining or cascading of the IO operators. Similarly, for cin object, predefined object, we can have the cascading done using the extraction operator used repeatedly. So in this case, we have used the insertion operator repeatedly, so that two statements are joined. So one statement is printing the num equal to and another it can be directly printing the value of num. So these two statements are joined. It is nothing but cascading of operators, that is IO operators. Let us see one more example for cascading of IO operators. So in this program, we'll have two variables for which the value is entered and the value is displayed. So we have the two variables num1 and num2 declared, and then we have the output statement cout, enter the value for num1 and num2, and now we have to enter two values using the keyboard, and then that two values will be stored in the locations num1 and num2. So we have the input statement cin num1 num2, and then we are printing the values of these two variables num1 and num2. So we have the statement cout num1 equal to in double inverted commas and num2 equal to in double inverted commas. So this statement is using the insertion operator or put to operator repeatedly, so that two statements, cout statements, is joined together. Similarly, in the cin statement, the extraction operator or get from operator is repeatedly used. So this is nothing but cascading of I/O operators. Let us see the simple C++ program structure using class. So what is class? It is a user-defined data type similar to structure used in C. This is the major feature of C++ programming language. It provides a method to bind the data and functions which operate on them together. So the data are nothing but the variables, and the operations to be done on them will be written in a function. So both data and the functions will be binded together using the class. So first we have the header file to be used or to be included in the program. Then we have the class declaration. So class declaration will start with the class keyword followed by the class name. So the class name should not be a keyword or any data type word used. So it should be other than this. And then we have the data members declared in the class. These data members are nothing but the variables. The variables which are used in C language or in normal C++ language program. So those are called as data members in the class context. And then we have the member functions definition. So the functions where the statements are written pertaining to the operations to be done on the data members are called as member functions, again in class context. So apart from this, we have one more factor to be considered, that is access specifier. So this access specifier will make the visibility of the data members or the member functions to some extent, or it will be restricting the access of the data members and the member functions. So the access specifier, there are three. One is private, public and protected. So this member function definition, it can be done inside the class declaration or outside the class declaration also. So once the class declaration is done, we have to end the class declaration with the semicolon. After the class declaration is done, we have to create object for that particular class. So that will be done in the main program. So the object creation is similar to the variable declaration. So how the variable is declared, in the same way the object is created. But here the data type will be the class name and the variable name will be the object name. Once the object is created for the particular class, using that object we can access the data members and the member functions can be called. So in this way the class concept can be incorporated in the C++ program. This will be dealt in the coming modules. Now let us see a C++ program using class. So first we have to declare the class or the class declaration. So for that we are going to use the class keyword. So we have the class keyword which is followed by the class name, that is my class. And inside the class declaration we have to declare the data members and member function definition has to be done. So here we have declared a data member, that is A, and then we have the member functions setA and getA. setA member function is used to get the value to the data member A, that is input operation, and getA member function is used to display the content of the data member A. So these member functions, they are defined under the access specifier public, since the member functions will be accessed in the program anywhere. So the member function should be under the public access specifier to make it accessible anywhere in the program, because through these member functions only the data members can be accessed or through the objects, and usually the data members will be under the private access specifier. So if the access specifier is not mentioned, then by default the access specifier will be private. So now once the class declaration is done, we will be closing it using the semicolon, and then after that the main program is written where the object for that particular class has to be created, which is similar to the declaration of the variable, but here the data type will be the class name. So we can see in the main function class name my class is used and object 1. So object 1, it is the object created for the class my class. Once this object is created, a separate memory location will be allocated for this my class, and the memory location will be used to store the value for the data member A. So once this object is created, using that object we will be calling the member function of that particular class. So first the setA function is called so that the value is got to the data member A. After that getA function is called to display the value of A.